Hello, nerds. Thank you for watching Generally Nerdy. This is your Week in Nerdom Movies edition for the week of October 29th, 2018. Happy Halloween, I can say it now, officially. Thank you for watching Generally Nerdy, guys. We are talking this week in movies. This is actually going to be our most densely packed episode this week because we have the most topics, but each topic's pretty short, so I don't think it'll be the longest. We've got Bloodshot. Nightwing is still in the movie news. That's right, Nightwing still might happen, but we're going to talk about all that in just a minute. Let's hit up the intro real quick.
Quiet on the set, rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally Nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
First on the list for movies this week, we're talking Avengers 4. Still no official subtitle. I know people have been trying to figure it out, and there's been all kinds of news about it leaked. As far as I can see, nothing is confirmed, so I'm not talking about subtitle or whatever. We're talking about this picture right here of Gwenyth Paltrow suited up in what looks to be her rescue uniform. So Pepper Potts in the comic books becomes a version of the Iron family known as Rescue. This is apparently a leak, but if you notice, she's definitely posing for this picture. It looks like she took it herself, so it's kind of a selfie. So either her phone got hacked or she sent it somewhere that then sent it, which I guess technically is a leak, but I mean, really, how much of a leak is that? So yeah, we likely are going to see some version of Rescue in Avengers 4. This ensemble is freaking huge. This movie's going to be like 2.5 hours long in order to give everyone their screen time. It's insane. But we said that about the last one, and I guess it was kind of long. It just didn't feel that long. Anyway, so whether or not they actually call her Rescue, I feel like is unlikely, though we don't know for certain until the movie actually comes out. Or until, she sits in a press junket and says, oh yeah, I get to be Rescue in this one, and yeah, rock on, woohoo. That's not, none of that has happened yet. So I honestly, my belief, and again, I don't do very well with the conjecture, but we're going to give it a shot this time. I don't think they're going to call her Rescue. I feel like that's going to be one too many. There's quite a few names that they're going to leave out, and that's going to be one of them. She's going to remain Pepper Potts. Her time in the suit is going to be rather limited, and it will just be Rescue in look only. It'll be an homage, not an actual spot by the character. So that's what I have to say about that one, and we're kicking on next. Since it is Halloween, we're talking about a horror movie, Hereditary 2. If you have not seen the first one and you really want to screw up your weekend, definitely go watch it, because it's going to mess with your mind for the next 3 days at least. This isn't going to be a proper... Alright, so let's get into this. Ari Aster, who was the director of the first movie, is doing a quasi-follow-up, a quasi-sequel, rather, to the movie that doesn't have a title just yet. It's going to be similar in feel, was the announcement. This one will be centered around a family that is at the hands of a pagan cult. So that's the similar feel. I feel like it's not going to have any of the same returning characters, and I would bet that the demon or whatever it was from the first movie is not going to be the same demon that they conjure in the second movie. Just going to be like the same universe, but not necessarily connected, if that makes sense. The movie is slated to release August 9th of 2019. So it sounds like they probably won't have... They're not into production just yet. He's getting the script finished, so here in the next probably 2 months or so they'll go into production, which means we're not going to have a whole lot of special effects, a whole lot of digital effects anyway, so very likely we'll stick to the practicals like they did in the first movie, which worked very, very, very well. Very, very well. Like, disturbingly well. So that is definitely something to look forward to if you like the scary stuff. That's all we've got about it, though, so we're moving next into Labyrinth II. That's right, the sequel to the Labyrinth. We've talked about the sequel to Dark Crystal, which is in the works to some degree over at Netflix. We're probably going to see that next year, what with their $2+ billion that they're dropping on original programming. So that's where that sits. But as far as Labyrinth 2 goes, Fede Alvarez, who's a producer, told Fandango that a script for the movie exists. Now it's just a matter of whether or not it's going to get past the stage of being a script. No one has signed on for it just yet. There's no casting going on, none of that. Just, hey, there's a producer who has a script. Now we need a director. Now we need all kinds of production folk. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Labyrinth 2. Does Jareth really... I don't know. I feel like it's just people trying to capitalize on a really good thing, and they're just gonna cheapen it. But I haven't read the script, so I don't know. So we're gonna move on next. And next we are talking about Nightwatch. Now, this is one that we talked about probably 2.5 to 3 months ago. This is the Spider-Man less universe over at Sony. Nightwatch is an anti-hero in the Spider universe in the comic books. Starts off as a foe for Spider-Man and then becomes a friend. And the reason we talked about it before is because Spike Lee was supposedly signed on to direct the movie, which I was super excited about, because what an interestingly unique voice to take a stab at the superhero genre. Well, this last week, Spike Lee has come out and said he isn't signed on to do the movie. He actually has nothing to do with the movie. Weird. It was... Multiple sources had it that he was all but signing the contract already, and now he's saying, no, that never happened. Couldn't find any more details as to why it became a rumor, as to maybe it was true and then Spike backed out. No idea what's going on there, but it was worth noting that he is not actually attached to the project, so... that's all we've got. We're going to move next to Nightwing. And Nightwing, from Nightwatch to Nightwing, right? Nightwing is still on the DC table. It's just been... And to even say it's been pushed back is kind of disingenuous, because it never had an official release date. It was just a thing in production. Well, there's been rumors going around saying that, Nightwing's been canceled with the shakeup over at DC, the DCEU anyway, that all of these projects are getting shelved and indefinitely shelved. Chris McKay has come out recently and said, in spite of the recent rumors about everything being canceled and them taking these weird directions with Superman and such, that Nightwing is still in the works. There was an allusion to the fact that maybe it's just being slowed down. Whatever progress they were making before has been kind of slowing because of all the shakeups, but not stopped. Chris McKay is still actively in some sort of pre-production for the movie, be it finalizing his script or location scouting, whatever it is that they were doing. That is still happening, just there's not as much money as there once was because they're, again, shaking things up. So Nightwing is still out on the horizon. Before we get into our last bit of news, I do want to address something I brought up last week. I know I said we were going to get the list of movies and go over that list this week. That list is very hard to find. Like, yes, I could theoretically just go through each individual story and see what movies have been confirmed. In past years, though, when we've done such things, I've been able to find a comprehensive list that somebody else has been curating. What with the craziness that's going on over at DC, that shakeup we were just talking about, and the uncertain future for Marvel, very few movies would even be on that list if it existed. Neither company has released a comprehensive list for their specific releases, and none of my sources have their own list that they have compiled. So that's not going to be a thing that we are going to be able to do probably until after the new year, is what it looks like. Once the dust has started to settle over at DC, and the Fox buyout over at Disney has been finalized, and then they can start making these plans. We're getting Aquaman and Captain Marvel and not much else. Wonder Woman 1984. Just the ones that we've been actively talking about anyway. There's not been something that's on the back burner because it's so far out, because they're only thinking about 8 to 10 months ahead of time at the moment. So that's where we are with that. But anyway, last bit of movie news this week, guys, is Bloodshot. Vin Diesel has shared an image on his Instagram, which I'm not going to link down in the description, but it's there if you care for such things. The image is in celebration of finalizing primary photography, principal photography, whatever you want to call it, with the movie Bloodshot. So Valiant Comics' answer to Wolverine, his screen debut, which is going to star Vin Diesel, has finished filming. Very likely we'll see, like they just did for Spider-Man, they're doing reshoots for Spider-Man, so very likely in the next 3 to 6 weeks or so, once they've got rough cuts together and they know what they're missing, or they know what else they need for the story, we'll get reshoots, and that will probably again last, like it usually does, somewhere in the neighborhood of a month to 2 months, and then we're into post-production and we're into rumors. So interesting. This is one I like. No matter where you lie on Vin Diesel's body of work, there are definitely times where he shines, and very moments within movies, not entire movies. That would just be silly. But there are moments in his movies where it's like, I could see this dude doing a superhero movie, and it feels like Bloodshot is actually kind of an appropriate movie for Vin Diesel to do. He's not the greatest actor, but it's not the most well-known hero either. So, yeah, this is still one that's it's piquing the interest pretty hard. So that is where we're ending this week's movies episode, guys. Like I said, each one was pretty short, but there were quite a few. So what did I miss? Even though, again, we did have quite a bit. What should we talk about next week? Let me know in the comments below. If, though, you want to go deeper into the conversation, jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net. That is the place that you can go find the nerdy store, so you can go get your nerdy swag. You can, the freebies, the social media links. I have been posting, again, slightly more regularly up on the website, so go check it out, generallynerdy.net. There is a Patreon, patreon.com/generallynerdy. 4 tiers, bottom tier's just $1. You do still get more content for your dollar, so go check that out, patreon.com/generallynerdy. If you're new to this channel, though, click the subscribe button. If you like the episode, click the like button. If you are falling behind in your nerd news and you want to catch up, click or tap that box right there to the left of my face to do that. But before we do all of the things and go all of the different places, guys, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.